Hello, hello, hello. All two of you watching. How are you? I do apologize. I kept pushing the show back and pushing it back. I had to stay late at work. I've been busy at work. How's everyone doing today? It actually wasn't too bad. It was a little bit chillier today than I would like, but weather-wise it wasn't horrible. Hopefully tomorrow will be a little better. Hopefully Saturday will even be better than that. How's everything going? All right, there's four of you in the chat. You can say hello. I don't bite. Let me just make a post that I'm live. Give me a second here. Hi, Heather. How are you, sweet pea? What's going on? Hi, Mickey Griggs. How are you doing? Give me 1 second. I don't know if notifications went out. Like I said, I kept pushing the show back. So that's right. Hit that like button, people. All 7 of you, hit that like button. There better be at least 7 likes. I don't think that's asking a lot. So just to update everybody, I am going to get back to my Women of Death Row series. I've just been extremely busy at work, and then I have days like today where I end up, somebody comes in at the end of the day and I end up having to stay late and all that wonderful fun stuff. And yesterday I had appointments I had to go to, so maybe Sunday I will have a little bit of free time to just sit down and do some research on the person I've selected for my next episode. I know next week's going to be busy too. So for the past few weeks, we have an auction coming up this weekend. So the past few weeks, I've been buried under paperwork and then dealing with people last minute that all of a sudden don't want their stuff sold. So, long, extensive phone calls about, listen, if you don't pay your bill, you're going to lose your stuff. I don't know what to tell you. And then next week's going to be more paperwork filled with the people that did get sold. So the spring and summer are usually pretty crazy for me in that respect at work. How's everybody doing though? Everybody ready for some nice weather? I feel some nice weather coming on. I hope. All right, guys. So as far as the Nancy Guthrie case, Dad's Gone Live is supposedly going back out there. I like storage units. Oh, you have more rain? Ugh. What do you like about storage units, Mickey Griggs? Tell me. As far as Nancy Guthrie, Dad's Gone Live is going to go back out there for another week. 857 Tucson is out there. JLR is back at home in Florida, but he's still covering the case. But he did say he's going to go back out at some point. Exploring with Jim said he'll go back eventually. He just had to go home as well. These people, some of these people were out there for like a month. So they do have home and lives they have to get back to. Um, so yeah, Mickey, tell me, what do you like about storage units? What do you find interesting about them? People don't pay bill, I go to auction and buy it. Well, yep, that's what happens. And we have a bunch of facilities where I work. So it actually takes um like several weekends to auction them all off. Um they'll do 10 on a Friday, 10 on a, and I'm talking 10 locations, not 10 units. So they'll do 10 locations on a Friday, 10 locations on a Saturday. Then they'll go up to our northern division, do another 10 on Friday and or Saturday. So our auctions get pretty big in our area anyway. And just so you guys know, we don't get to keep all the money that's made off the units. We only get to keep what we're owed. So, Mickey, tell me what's the best find you found at a storage auction? Do you have anything that stands out? Yeah, Heather, unfortunately, if you're getting rain, it means we'll get it within the next day or two. You not really? What do you mean you don't have anything special that you found at an auction? Mickey, I see you on StreamYard, but I don't see you in YouTube. That's weird. Yeah, so Heather, you kind of bummed me out. Let me check the weather here. Let me check what our local weather says. Here in the good old Lehigh Valley. It's supposed to be breezy tomorrow. Saturday, let me look at Saturday. Oh, we're supposed to get some rain tomorrow. Late day showers tomorrow. What about Saturday? The weekend is shaping up to look and feel pretty good. Most, if not all, of the shower activity should be wrapped up by Saturday morning, with the exception of a stray lingering shower. Oh, good luck for the auction buyers. tomorrow and Saturday. Did you get to see the meteor? No, I did not. To be honest, I did not even know there was a meteor. So I know. Yeah, I did not know there was a meteor. Let me go back to the news here. It'll take me a minute for my laptop to load up. I didn't see it, but I heard it. My house shook. When was that, Heather? The Lehigh Valley Auto Show is underway. Here's some local news I'll share with you. All right, let me share some local news here. This story right here. Give me a second. My computer takes a minute to load. Whitehall Township man sentenced to life in prison in death of man who was stabbed and set on fire. Help me. Bethlehem, PA, a Whitehall Township man who was found guilty in the death of an 18-year-old who was stabbed and set on fire in Bethlehem has been sentenced. Zamir Welcome was sentenced to life in prison without parole, according to a secretary with the judge's office at the Northampton County Courts. Welcome had been found guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit a homicide, and kidnapping to facilitate a felony in connection with the death of Tyrell Holmes. Holmes, who was 18, was stabbed and set on fire near a dumpster outside an apartment complex in 2018. 4 other charges he was facing: arson causing death, aggravated arson causing bodily harm, injury, possession of an instrument of a crime with intent, and kidnapping to inflict injury or terror were declared a mistrial because the jury couldn't agree. Welcome previously pleaded guilty to a felony robbery charge back in 2018 and spent a few months in jail. Authorities also accused Yazir and Miles Harper in in the killing. Harper pleaded guilty to aggravated arson. Jenkins Rowe also pleaded guilty in the case. Duncans was found guilty by a jury. They were members of a gang that referred to themselves as I do apologize, guys. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, good. You guys can hear me? Good, good, good. Something happened. My StreamYard went bonkers and I had to come back in. So I do apologize. So what's going on with you guys? Hi, Angel. How are you? Thank you. Yeah, my StreamYard went bonkers on me. It booted me out. It's still showing that I have. Oh my gosh. This laptop is so slow. I think I have to like refresh it or something or update it. See, my old laptop is better with display and doing StreamYard and all that stuff, but it doesn't carry sound. Like it'll turn my voice into a robot voice. This one, if I try to do anything other than just StreamYard, it Hi Donna DeMarco. That's all right. You haven't missed much. So what's going on? Like I said, the Nancy Guthrie case, this past week, a bunch of the streamers that were still there went home. 857 Tucson is still there. Mark the Shark is still there. Dad's Gone Live will be coming back next week we'll be going back to Tucson next week for a week. JLR has left. He went home, but he's still covering it from his studio. Let's see if we can't pop in on him. he doesn't mind. Some of these guys don't mind if we live stream. So let's see who is live streaming. All right, 857 Tucson is live streaming. So let's see. Give me a second here. Let me see. Heather saw the meteor on the news. That's wild. Who went to pick up pieces? Yeah, I didn't see it. It's off our local news, 2857. He lives in Tucson. Yeah, he does. 857 lives in Tucson. I believe Mark the Shark said he's going to be out there for another week yet, at least. So, guys, this is Mark the Shark's channel. Doesn't
We're oh, there's Bob again. You and Bob go and talk the water cooler talk. You get attached. You maybe become friends with Bob or Jane. So I said, let me give it a shot. So I went over there. Someone said, come work here, and I said,
That's what he's doing. It's so sad. No more leads in her. The pieces were in another county. I just heard the loud boom and rumbles, and the house shook. Oh, geez, Heather, it was that close. It's so sad. No more leads in her case, sadly. It's horrible ending for that sweet lady. Well, hey, Carol, how are you? A lot of these streamers, well, Tucson has a bunch of different channels. But he's dedicated to staying on this case. Hey, Kathy, how are you, sweetheart? Um, but JLR has also, like I said, he went back home for like a week or so. He's in a studio, but he's still covering it. He said he doesn't want to cover any other cases but this. So he said, like I said before, these guys, they were out there. I'm sorry, I'm getting the hiccups now. Oh, I really have two people. That's it. That's fine. It's okay. Um, these guys have been out there for like over a month. We're going on 6 weeks now. Um, I do believe they were saying on the news that they don't consider a cold case until um 60 days. So we've got another week and a half till it's considered cold. Um, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this? What are your theories? I've been hearing some really, really weird theories. Like listening to these other channels, I've been hearing some really, really weird theories. Hi, Anita. How are you, sweetheart? Um, one person called in And they said they thought that Nancy was in the witness protection program. Like, what? Like, just some really bizarre stuff. I know we live here, Jesse, but it's going badly for the sheriff, messed up badly. It will get solved, but will be forever to solve. Um, yes. In my opinion, Sheriff Nanos dropped the ball, screwed up big time. Now, mind you, we all know there's stuff they're probably not telling the public on purpose, and that happens quite a bit. But he's like jumbled this case so bad that I don't think they can do anything that's going to hurt it at this point. I said to the beginning they dropped the ball. Oh, absolutely, Kathy. I know you were one of the ones that said that as well as I did. They dropped the ball. I heard that, but I don't believe she was in the protection plan. I don't think so either, Anita. It's interesting though. There are a lot of people. Like, there's been this one nurse that calls into JLR a few times. And she has some interesting things to say about the pacemaker and all of that. My concern is the timeline keeps getting changed, keeps getting messed up. He now understands investigation by feds. People of Tucson are getting a petition together now for his removal. I don't blame them. I really don't. This is my opinion. I mean, it was definitely targeted, I feel, whether it be Nancy or because of Savannah or something. Nancy was targeted for some reason. I think they're going to find her close to home, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think they expected her to pass. I think she probably passed while they were kidnapping her. I don't think that was meant to be the outcome. They are looking into, now there's a lot of construction going on around. They are looking into a specific construction site down the road. Now, I keep hearing a lot of people saying that because of how tight-lipped they're being, and now they keep going back and re-questioning neighbors, that they think they think there's more to it than the police are saying. I think they have no leads. That's, I think they're going back and looking. Yeah, I don't think her passing was planned. I don't think so. I saw some people think it's the neighbor that keeps doing news. Well, and they keep adding dates to people to look at their Ring cameras. Quite frankly, and I know it in my experience of having to pull footage from security cameras, um, we use a DVR system. So our local DVR will hold on to it for a month. Obviously, if we're looking for something specific, it's good to have a date range. Day 1 to day 2, whatever. So you're not going through 30 days worth of footage. Trust me, I know what that's like. But what they should have been doing is they should have asked everybody, if they had a couple weeks in mind, they should have asked everybody for the full 2 weeks of that footage. Now they keep bouncing back and forth. The problem is if you wait too long to go to a certain date, you're going to lose that footage. So that's the issue is I think they're really, now it's a, yeah, that, well, and that's what a lot of the streamers said. They said, you know what? We've been here over a month. Let's go home. We got all have homes. We have to go back to business to take care of, blah, blah, blah. It's 103 degrees out there. Never been this temp so early in our history. It's crazy. She may have had well, that's what I'm wondering, Carol. Or if she, hit her head like fighting them or something, like anything's possible. She could have had a heart attack or she could have injured herself somehow trying to fight them off. Because I've actually never seen her. I mean, I've seen clips of her since, that they show from the TV show that she was on and whatnot. But she seems like a pretty feisty 84-year-old. Like she's not going to go without a fight, And we all know one of them, right? um, so I can almost guarantee whoever came into her house that they weren't welcome. She would have fought them off. Or even if she was pushed and they got her pacemaker that can F you up. Yeah, exactly. Well, and here's the thing, you know, if they knew she called in, regarding the pacemaker, um, they're going by the time that night of 228 that it didn't receive a signal. Um, she could have been gone long before that, but it didn't receive the signal because they update usually between 1 and 3 a.m. in the morning. I know the pacemaker's implanted in her chest. But this is somebody that, like, I feel this is somebody that knows her. Like, they're aware of this, you know. But see, it's in her chest, but it was attached to her phone. Right, right. And you can move them. And isn't it, if I'm not mistaken, like like you can see it through the skin, right? And that's the thing, like they're going by the timing, the 220, it would take someone to cut it out. I have one. No, I know. Not move, like if you remove the pacemaker from the phone, like it sends signals to the phone. Right, but it stopped sending signals to the phone at 228, meaning she wasn't near her phone to update. I'm not saying they moved it out of her chest. I'm saying they removed it from the device that it's sending data to. So, I mean, I really, this is why I think, there's a lot of reasons why I feel it's somebody they knew. Um, All the phone does is that's what I'm saying though, Anita. But if you take the phone out of range, if you take the phone out of range, then it's gonna not transmit, correct? Am I right? Perhaps I worded that wrong. I didn't mean move the pacemaker. I meant move the phone away from the pacemaker. Hang on, guys. Why they took look at all who had contact with her. I know my husband did something moving which he shouldn't be doing, and his pacemaker moved. He's on his second one. He has a pacemaker defibrillator. Why they look at all who had contact with her. Well, I'm sure they've done that. I listen, as much as Nanos dropped the ball, I would hope that was the least they did. And if he's away a few days, it sends me yeah, see. But that's what I'm saying, that timing of 2:28 in the morning, she could have been long gone. It's just that's when it disconnected, the phone disconnected because it went to update. And like I said, when I meant move pacemaker, I meant physically take her away from her phone. Yeah, I think could be a contractor, a maid, anyone like home health, could be anyone. I think they did look into like all the maids and everything. I don't know. For some reason, she doesn't seem like the type that would have a maid. But listen, I know as spry as she was, I would hope that the family at least had somebody looking in on her during the day. Right. And you're right, Donna. They won't tell anybody. They won't tell anybody. And like I said, I understand, and as we all do, I'm sure you all do too. Um, I understand that the police withhold information a lot of the times, but we're at the point now, if they gave us the public something, I don't think they could screw anything up. What all neighbors are saying already. Well, what did you hear, Donna, that the neighbors are saying? Idaho murder took FBI 47 days, then it hit the news. No, it didn't. Not from the time they had an idea of who it was. They were pretty quick on that one. But we're already on day 47 now for this one. All right, so yeah, maybe 47 days for the Idaho murder, but they once it hit, they once they had it hit quick. They're not even saying if they have a suspect or not. Oh, absolutely. Right. And Anita, you're right. The sheriff screwed up. I'm not saying the FBI screwed up. To be quite honest, I feel bad for the FBI because they got to deal with all the screw up. They had to muddle through that screw up from sheriff. Hang on one second, guys. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello, hello. Okay, you can hear me then? Good. All right, sorry about that. His his channel started buffering and then my StreamYard went funky. No, laughing my ass off. You're a stitch, Kathy. But there's no new news yet. But anyway, what I was saying is you're correct. 47 days for the Idaho murderer. We're on day 47 with Nancy, but there's not even any new leads. That's what I'm saying. Like day 47, they already had a suspect in mind. They had already been watching the suspect. They they might even have a suspect. He thought I fell out of the treehouse. Now I got some extra cushion on me. I'm okay. I bounce right back up. um, yeah, wouldn't that be fun? Falling out of my treehouse. Um, it's funny where my desk sits, like right out the window. Um, there was an empty lot in between me and the next building. So I used to be able to watch the deer, and there were fox and deer and all this other stuff. I had my own little pocket of animal kingdom back here. And then they built an apartment building last year, and now I see nothing but parking lot. She does that a lot of that we know of. We didn't know that in Idaho either, just saying. Well, they would at least do updates though with the Idaho murder case. Like you would at least get at least once a week you were getting some sort of press conference. With this, we're not getting anything. Like nothing. Sis, you can tell I'm feeling better today. I don't know, Kathy. I feel like buying you a toaster. um Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's not that, it's not that it didn't take as long, but we're already, was it day 47, day 48 now with nothing. I bought one on the next day. I know, you told me you did. It's funny, Kathy, when I was getting married, and you do your list for your bridal shower and all that, things you want, things you need. And we had already been in our house. We'd already bought our house a couple years before we got married. But right before, my toaster had died. My toaster died. And so I went, what the hell? I'll throw it on my bridal shower wish list, a toaster. And after my bridal shower, my mom called me up and she said, "Is there anything you need that you didn't get?" I said, "Yeah, Mom." I said, "I needed like a toaster." I said, and I didn't even ask for an expensive one. I'm like, I wouldn't have even cared, like an $8 Walmart toaster or something like that. You know what I mean? Like once in a while you could find like the $8 or $10 appliances like that. And my mom's like, "Oh, a toaster's so boring." I said, "But Mom, that's what I need, a toaster." If she's gone, I wish they would let the family know with a tip or something well, and that would be the humane thing. They could even do that anonymously if they don't want to get caught. Like just like send a note and say to a news station. They don't even have to send it to the police. Send it to a news station and say, the body's here or something like that. Don't let it drag on like this. At least give the family some sort of closure. They may never find out who or why, but I agree with you, Kathy. You know, I agree with you on that one. And I've been seeing, I haven't had a chance to look up on it, but apparently there's a bunch of like gunman standoffs going on. There were two of them at the same time. Was it yesterday or earlier today? I don't like this world is going to crap. I don't know what to tell anybody anymore. And for those of you that came in later, yeah, Sunday, because I've been extremely busy. at work, and then I get home late and whatnot. Well, since they took her, I'm pretty sure those folks don't have a heart. Well, I hear you, Anita. I know. It's wishful thinking. Here's the thing, though. I don't think they expected her to pass away. I don't, I really don't think. This is what gets me, though. Now, I don't know how to describe it, but when I listen to them talk, it definitely sounds like there were multiple people involved. Um, and they keep showing that footage of that guy on the front door ring camera. But there's no other footage of anybody else. So the assumption is they possibly got in through the back door unseen. Um, well, if you got in through the back door unseen, wouldn't you disconnect the ring camera from the inside so it's not like pointing right at you? Like you could pop the door open and then just reach your hand around, pop it off or something like that. Like, why would you intentionally go around to the front of the house and be seen on camera? That's what confuses me. Like this guy, it's like he was intentionally, he wanted to be seen. And another reason, and it's a good point that people are bringing up, another reason why I feel she was targeted, it wasn't a robbery. I think it was supposed to be a kidnapping from the beginning. The guy's backpack was full. If you're going to go rob, you're going to go in there with an empty backpack. Like, I don't know why this person felt like they needed to be seen. Um, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, why would he intentionally walk in front of the camera? The one that is at the back putting something over the fence, and there is one driving the car. I count. You think three at least, Anita? Okay. All right. That's fair. Yeah. I don't. This wasn't a one person job, definitely. And even if one person went into the house, I think it was masterminded by more than one at the very least. But I think at least three people is possible. At least two. At least two people. Three definitely possible. I don't know. It just this one hits home to me. I'm not going to get into why, but um and we've heard all the theories. Did it have something to do with a story that Savannah did? And I thought about that, but I don't think so. I think it's definitely somebody local, somebody that knows the family, but I think they either had a fixation on Savannah or Nancy, and Nancy's their way of getting at Savannah, or maybe they saw Nancy on Savannah's show a couple times and they got fixated with her. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Kathy, the one that okay, there's no footage of her being taken out. Now they were talking about Wi-Fi jammers. Several neighbors in the back recorded or reported that their cameras went out, but hers didn't. Now, and here's the I don't know exactly if they, Kathy, when he came up to the ring camera, I don't know if they disabled it at that point. What the fuck sucks up those hills? It's way out of Tucson. Wi Fi sucks up those hills. It's way out of Tucson. Yeah, the whole thing is bizarre. I believe that, Donna. And it is a very hilly area. But here's the thing, Anita. Why wouldn't they have jammed it up before they walked in front of it? Like this guy, like there's something very odd. Like he wanted to be seen on camera. And if he was going to disable the camera, why was he making like hand gestures? Why didn't you just grab it and like, open the door, grab it off the door frame from inside and like rip it off the wire without, you only see his hand grabbing it? What's with the weeds? What do you mean the weeds? The weeds in Arizona? That's just part of the landscape. Right. He did. He kept going back and forth like he wanted to be seen on camera. He made like to me anyway. It looks like he made a point. He stuck weeds on something in the camera. Oh, you think he thought he might have already disabled it? Well, maybe he was putting those weeds that maybe he thought it covered up the camera. I don't know, Kathy. This whole thing is just strange, strange, strange. From day one, the sheriff messed it up. Right, but they'll at least hide their face. Like this guy wanted, even though he had the ski mask on, this guy was very brazen walking right up to it. But let's assume they went in the back way unseen, right? You open the front door, reach around with a spray can and spray it, right? You don't put your face in the camera. Hi, Twisted Tea. How are you? Right. You don't put your face right up in the camera. And listen, like I said, I've worked with camera systems just with my job. And we've had different places, different properties and we've got cameras everywhere, everywhere. And, you know, these people have a way of getting seen or getting in and out off camera without even disabling the cameras. So, I don't know if it's a glitch in the camera systems or and here's the thing with cameras too. A lot of people are going, well, why didn't she pay for this subscription and this, that, and the other? Those cameras will hold a film, like will hold footage for up to 30 days locally without a subscription. All right. So some people feel they don't need it. But the misunderstanding though is too, people think if you have a subscription that somebody's sitting there watching the camera 24/7. No. 95% of the time, if you see a camera on the place, they're not used until after the fact. Maybe he thought her family would at some point see it, so he did that kind of as a brag, let them see a little of what he was doing. Well, that's definitely what he was doing. It was kind of like, haha, look at me, you know. But why would, she was also old. Maybe she forgot to re up her subscribe. It's possible. It's possible. She might have been thrifty, what do I need the 29.95 subscription for, if it holds footage up to 30 days. And I don't think she has a Ring camera. I think it's a Nest camera. So I think those work a little bit differently, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, though. I thought she had, like, I think it's called Nest. I think Ring is the new term. Remember back in the 80s, guys, like the Walkman? Well, Walkman was actually a name brand for Sony, but anybody that had one called it a Walkman. So I don't think it was necessarily a Ring camera. I think it was a Nest camera, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a lot of people, and that's the thing. That's like I said, I'm kind of comparing it to the Sony Walkman. Everybody's used to say everybody used to say Walkman, Walkman, Walkman. Now it's like you got a camera, a Ring, Ring, Ring. She got them to see the javelina in her yard was stated in special with Savannah in November. Yes, Nest. Yes, correct. Right. So if she got him to look at the property for that reason, she probably wouldn't necessarily um need a subscription. Yeah, no, I know. Right. So she wouldn't need a subscription for that. I mean, that makes sense. Um I'm not going to tell you what I have, but let me tell you something. You ain't coming up on my property without being on at least 5 cameras before you even get close to my door. Yeah, she's lived there since 1972. That's correct. Correct. They immigrated from Australia, right, Donna? In fact, I think Savannah and her siblings were born in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Give me a second here, guys. Yeah, Savannah herself was born in Melbourne, Australia, but she has a United States citizenship. Her dad did lots of government jobs, yes. It was going around that a guy that was staying around JRL or whatever his name is, involved idiots said it looked like him. What, the guy on camera looked like somebody that was, it's possible. You know what they say, Kathy? A lot of times criminals like to hover near the scene of the crime. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a drunk neighbor. There was one lady, I forget what her name was, but She was really mean, and she would come out and say stuff to them, and I forget what her name was, but they would be like, "Oh, here comes so and so." See, I have a bad memory. That's why you guys are so helpful to me. I love you guys. Yeah, it did. It did turn out to be the neighbor. Coos already took him in. Weird folks in Tucson. Who was the one guy that they would talk to a lot? Was it JRL would talk? Was his name John or something like John or Jim? Who would come out and just sit down and talk with JLR. Swore it was a lawyer that defends the mob or cartel. Oh, there's all sorts of Anita. I think we've heard everything from except aliens kidnapped her or Sasquatch ran off with her. Those are the only two theories I haven't heard yet. Well, Donna, JLR himself is quite an interesting character. Have you seen his background? Now, listen, I'm not saying what he's not doing here is good work. He's doing decent work keeping up with this, but he's an odd bird. He did 10 years for wire fraud, but he did it in a medical facility after he pled to the charge. Yeah, okay. And then he has like over 4,000. He's tried to sue over 4,000 people, most of them famous. I mean, he's at the point now where he's not even allowed to sue people anymore. They claim JLR didn't know. I don't think Listen, JLR has a record, but he doesn't have anything violent. I think he's got some mental health issues, but I got to be honest with you, whatever he's doing now, he seems okay. So maybe he's on I don't know. I'm not going to make assumptions about him. He's doing a good job of reporting and staying on the story. I can tell you that. But he does definitely have a checkered path. What I think he might have mental issues. They claim JLR did it. No, no. He's not even built anything like the guy in the camera. Not at all. He's not even built like that person. Although, as much as he's been around it, I could see why people would think, listen, any one of those streamers could be tagged as a suspect for hanging around. You know what I mean? I don't think JLR would go as far as kidnapping somebody. I agree, Twisted Tea. I agree. I think he's definitely doing better. Maybe he's doing something in his life. I don't know. It's not my business, but um he's definitely done some bizarre things. I know they were throwing stupid shit out. But he's been pretty good at I think he's doing better, Twisted Tea. I think, maybe the 10 years in the medical facility helped. If he can't wear a baseball cap, it isn't JLR. Right? Right? JLR would not take his baseball cap off to put a ski mask on, right? No, I hear. Oh, he is. He's making a lot of money on YouTube. Some said he looked like that guy in the camera. I don't think he does. Not at all. He's much slimmer. The guy in the camera had a bigger build. Like JLR is tall, but he's slim. He's making a crap ton of money. All of them are. All of them are. Right, right, Anita. He's skinny. He's very skinny. He doesn't look, and I don't even think the guy on camera was fat. He just had a bigger build. And there you go, Donna. He wasn't even in Tucson on that date. There you go. See, that can be easily debunked. Absolutely. Speaking of making money, guys, if you'd like to tip me, feel free. The information's pinned to the top of the chat or streaming down at the bottom. Or you can hit the like button. You can subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Feel free to share the channel. Any of that helps. All of that helps, guys. Any little bit. They're grasping at straws. I think they are grasping at straws at this point. My point earlier, though, wasn't that the FBI was messing up. And was it, who was it that said earlier about 556 Media? He's absolutely right. The sheriff dropped the ball. The feds are doing what they're supposed to. Unfortunately, the feds have to deal with the sheriff screwing things up. So their job is kind of twice as hard. And thank you very much, generous donor. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Donna. Oh yeah. Well, I have to keep the, I still, like I said earlier, this Sunday I'm going to do some work on my next episode of my Women of Death Row series. I don't want you guys thinking I forgot about it or put it off. I've just been really busy and I have to find the time to do it. Meanwhile, I come on here and do lives, which I could be researching, but I kind of have to do lives once in a while, at least just keep the channel going. That share, no, he doesn't. And from what I understand, didn't he lost his own brother recently? And he even came out and said that his head just isn't in the game, which I'm sorry is no excuse. If his head's not in the game and he lost a family member, he needs to recuse himself and either let his deputies do the job or hand it over completely to the FBI. I think he screwed it up. I think he's having a hard time with the FBI kind of taking over. I think he should just hand it over to the FBI and say, you know what, guys, you know, you guys really, should take over. I do think he should recuse himself from the job, or at least that investigation anyway. Maybe go back to like speeding tickets or something like that. I don't know. And he is quite a bit older. Like apparently he was experienced, but I don't think he's had experience in this type of case. If I remember correctly, like he worked in neighborhoods like this where all you had were like maybe the occasional robbery. I don't think he's ever dealt with anything this big, and I don't think he knows how to handle it to begin with, whether his head's in the game or not. Let me look at something real quick here, guys. Yeah, see, as of going back to update on Nancy Guthrie case. The sheriff has a 95% disapproval rating. Yikes. Yeah, I don't think he's getting elected again. Is that an elected, Donna, is that an elected position out there? He won't recuse himself. He won't. Well, exactly, Kathy. He won't. And that's why he won't hand it over to the FBI. Donna, is that an election position out there? It is. Okay. Yeah, I don't think he's getting elected again. Not after this. Nope. He's up in 2028. Well, if he doesn't watch it, he's going to be out in 2026. Let me see here. Let me look him up. Just a quick look. No deep dive or anything. Recall effort launched against Sheriff Chris Nanos. Yep, definitely. And he's not making us Democrats look good either. Let me tell you. Can they get rid of him before his term is over? I do believe they can, but there's a certain way they have to go about it. That's why the petition going around, they need 100,000 signatures. He came from El Paso, Texas. Right. I don't think he's handled many cases like this. Let me tell you something. I grew up in a small town, and there was only one police chief, like no police department, just a police chief. And there was a guy that he wanted to get rid of. The guy was an asshole. He was a jerk. But they had to they basically had to look for a legit reason to get rid of him. Like an officer being an asshole is not a reason to get rid of. Like it's not. You can't. And he wasn't even elected. I think he applied for the job. Basically, they had to find something in his background that would warrant a reason for getting rid of him. What they ended up finding was he very publicly cheated on his wife and had an illegitimate child. So they were able to get him on. And then he neglected to pay child support for the illegitimate child. So because he didn't pay child support, I do believe they were able to get him on conduct on becoming an officer. Now, like I said, that was a chief of police. That wasn't a sheriff or anything. But it's a lot more than just, I think a petition could do it. Hang on one second. I think a petition could do it, but plus the sheriff has, yeah. See, that's what they could get him on, Heather. He does have a lawsuit against him. What I have a hard time is there aren't streetlights in that neighborhood. No, there aren't streetlights. Heather, that's a very good thing to bring up. That would be something they could get him booted on. Like they could say whatever. What? Let me look that case up again. I don't recall exactly what it was for. It's a hefty lawsuit too. It's like a $1.3 million lawsuit. Reportedly, the alleges his life was endangered. The lawsuit filed blah, 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 alleges Nanos violated Article 2 of the Arizona State Constitution, otherwise known as Declaration of Rights. Marks alleges his life was put in jeopardy after a sheriff did not disinfect himself, nor was Sheriff Nanos working to ensure COVID-19 was being contained, even though, oh, yeah, that could be what they could get him on. That could be what they could get him on. Like the tiny department in Idaho, they didn't mess up like exactly, Donna. No, it's all dark. They have a law about it to keep it natural, and Catalina Hill's been that way forever. I don't have streetlights by my house there at the end of the street. Yes, that's right. It was during that evil dark time, and apparently the sheriff didn't disinfect it. That's gonna be, guys. That's gonna be what gets him out of there. Like I said, you can't just. I mean, you can petition. You can make all the petitions you want. Like the guy's an asshole. He screws up this, that, and the other. But that's going to be what gets ultimately, if he gets booted out before the election, because that could take years. That could actually take years for that lawsuit. But let's just say that lawsuit gets zipped ahead before re-election time. That's okay, Donna. I learned recently just saying the word anymore doesn't do it, but I still try to say during that dark evil time, like 6 years ago, guys. It's already been 6 years. Can you believe it? But that's gonna be, I think, if they zip that lawsuit along before re-election, that's what they'll be able to get him on. That's what they'll be able to boot him out on. Something like that, officer behavior on becoming an officer, or something like that. Some sort of legal technicality is what they're going to be able to get him on. Of course, there might be other lawsuits that we don't know about yet, too. So they might pressure him to retire, or resign, I guess. Think the Well, but that's what I'm saying. That petition, along with those charts, see, like I said, if they just put up a petition, oh, we think he screwed up, and that's it, that's not going to get him booted. But you have a high-profile case that people think he screwed up on, plus he potentially infected people with a dangerous disease. That's going to be the kicker. That he put lives into, because in that case he actually put lives into, well, not that he didn't hear. I mean, not that he couldn't be putting lives in danger here by screwing up, but I'm just saying that case is more tangible to get him booted out. I could write a petition against any police officer and get 100,000 people to sign it, but it's got to be some sort of legitimate, ethical, reason. Like I was describing earlier, that town sheriff, uh, they were able to get him out because he was behind in child support, refusing to pay child support. Um, that's how they got him. Yeah, a lot of places out in like Arizona, Colorado, whatnot. They like the natural skylight um, in in residential areas. I didn't. There aren't really sidewalks there though, are there? Most cities have streetlights at corners. The thing that my daddy did when I was growing up, he would put decorative lamps in our yard. Um, did I can really tell that neighborhood doesn't have sidewalks, right? So, like, there might be a lot. If they don't want to put, they might not have to put streetlights. Um, I know here where I'm at, if you have a sidewalk in front of your property, there has to be a streetlight. Um, Now, the apartment building next door, the township didn't put streetlights in, but the apartment building themselves put their own in front of the building anyway. And they put in those new fluorescent ones. Right. They have gravel roads and sidewalks. So that's not some that's now it looked like they did have a curb. Like they had a curb, but not a sidewalk. Unless those curbs were put there by the homeowners, you know. Where I owned our house in Nanuet, we had no sidewalks, but we had street lights everywhere. Interesting. Were they on the telephone poles? And let me tell you something, guys. They change zoning laws all the time. Like the street I live on was originally, believe it or not, was supposed to be an industrial park. Um, Now my apartment is above an office, but the property is storage units, right? So it's just a one-off apartment. I was the only person living on this street. Everything else was a business. Um, until 2018, they built the apartment building on the other side of the property. And then last year they built the apartment building right out my window. I don't have sidewalks by me either, but where I live is a bit rural. My house sits alone. I can barely see my clothes. Yeah, see. Now, and the properties, now they have like big properties there too. So they're pretty vast. Catalina Hills, where it is called a county island area. Why sheriff department trolls there, not Tucson PD? Right, right. Well, out where I'm at, Donna, um, well, where I grew up anyway, it was along the river, but it was a bunch of farmland and then a bunch of little towns, one right or like all around each other. So what ended up happening was for the longest time until probably about the 80s into the early 90s, all those little towns had their own little police departments. Um, some of them were a 3-person police department, some of them were a 1-person police department. And then somewhere back in the 90s, as the departments started like like the police officers started leaving and going elsewhere or whatnot, um, the state police took over. So there's a whole bunch of towns that the state police 45 minutes away took over. So they ended up having to build a substation closer to all those little towns. So where I'm at, it's the state police. Um, Here in Pennsylvania, and even it even varies by county, because there might be other counties in the state that the sheriff does more patrolling and whatnot. But where I'm at in Pennsylvania, pretty much all the sheriff department is their process servers. I mean, that, and we have constables too, which do the same thing. Constables and sheriffs are process servers. That's about all they are here. However, I had an incident with an ex-boyfriend, and I don't know if it was because of his background or not. They sent the sheriff department to pick him up. So it might have been because it was a violent case. Um, you know, it was more of a violent case, and maybe the locals didn't want to deal with it. And they had to take him down to the county courthouse, which is one city over anyway. I don't know. But most of the time, the sheriff's department around here, they're just process servers. Or they'll go and pick up people, pick up prisoners and stuff like that. So it really depends on what area you live in as to whether the sheriff covers it or not. Arizona State PD only enforce our highways and byways. Typically, yeah, and typically, Donna, in PA, that's true with the state police. But like I said, that one particular area of the county was made up of farmland and small little towns. And for some reason, the state police took it over. I don't know why. But typically, correct. Even here in Pennsylvania, you won't see a state trooper unless you're on the highway. Otherwise, those Amish buggies are slow. I think they have their own police. Guys, do you know what I saw? And it's so funny because I think Silo even brought this up the other night on Angels. Um, about 25 years ago, I used to work for this company. Our warehouse was in Pennsylvania, and I worked in the warehouse. But periodically we would have to go up to New York because the owner of the company we worked for wanted to show off her warehouse employees to her. She would have cocktail parties in New York, right? Oh, these are our warehouse people. So we would have to get all gussied up, after working in the warehouse all day, right? We'd had to go home, get all gussied up, right? Pile into this 15 passenger van, and we're just getting into New York City. And I look over, and everybody else is looking ahead or looking out the other side of the van. I see the postal police zipping down the road. I'm like, no shit. And everybody's like, what'd you see? I said, I swear to God, I just saw the postal police zipping down the road with sirens on. And and I'm like, why the hell would the postal police need a car with like sirens and alarms and all that, And then one of my friends in the van said, oh, well, a package might be funny, And at that point, it made sense. And this was, I want to say this was well before 9/11 even. Yeah, it was. It was in like 98 or 99, something like that. So, you never know. And then I never heard another word about postal police until forget what they were talking about on Angels, and Tony Silo said something about, oh yeah, that's when they bring the postal police in or something like that. And I'm like, no shit. Um, well, the anthrax thing came out after 9/11. That was in 2002 because I was home on maternity leave when that happened. So, but yeah, absolutely. This was like around, I want to say 98 or 99. Might have been 99, possibly even 2000, but it was definitely before 9/11. And of course, nowadays you don't even think twice about why would the post office need their own police department. Well, hell, my high school that I went to has their own police department now because the high school's that big. It's an inner city school, and the the police department there, I mean, I do believe if an incident breaks out, they have to call the regular police, but they're allowed to hold you and arrest you. And that was back when the male bees were a problem. Male bees? I don't know what a male bee is, Mickey Greggs. Oh, Kathy, I remember that anthrax scared. My husband would not let me go out to the mailbox. He's like, you're not touching the mail, because I was pregnant when that was going on. That was also around the time of the DC shooter. Well, I didn't want to say that. Can you delete that from the chat, Mickey, that word? But yeah, it made sense after that was brought up. But yeah, just delete that. Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. I get it now, Mickey. But yeah, just delete that word. So what else is new, guys? Anything going on? Anybody have any fun plans for the weekend? Carol, if you're still in chat, how you doing, sweetheart? I've been thinking about you. I hope all is well. You too, Kathy. My granddaughter is having, oh, fun. Fun. Oh, gosh. I know, Donna. I know. Remember the big post office massacre? Well, I live in that city, Edmond, Oklahoma. My best friend's husband was shot and had 13 holes. Oh my gosh, Anita. I do remember that. I didn't remember all the details. That was quite a few years ago. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. You're good, Mickey. Thank you. Right, and I get it, Mickey. I wasn't getting what that word, what you were trying to say. He lived? Oh, good. Did he fully well, I don't think he ever fully recover from that, but 13 holes with 7 gun. That makes sense though, because you have exit and entry wounds. Um, which means one of them didn't exit and probably had to be removed, I'm assuming. So yeah, that makes sense. But I'm assuming he had to have one removed because you have the entry and exit. Um Wow. Well, I'm glad he lives. I remember. Well, how long ago was that? If I'm not mistaken, Anita, he is hornier than ever. Oh Jesus! Oh my God! Well, I would think so. He probably wants to go out and live life, right? If I'm not mistaken, Anita, isn't that where the saying "going postal" came from? Was from that incident? (1986). Oh, good night, Kathy. Feel better. I mean, you sound like you sound like you're feeling better, but feel better, 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 better. Yeah, so I was that was quite a I was 11 years old. It- um if yeah, that's right around the time and I to this day use that expression. Like if I'm going crazy at work, I'll be like, I'm gonna go postal. If I'm not mistaken, that's the incident that saying came from. Going postal. Yes, Carol, we do pray for you and we care about you. And I hope you're doing well. But all right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. We've been on an hour and 43 minutes. And I want to thank every single one of you for even just coming in, saying hello. My anonymous donor, thank you. Donna, thank you. All the rest of you guys, I appreciate you, and I love that you come in, and it has been fun. We had well, I mean, we're not talking about such fun subjects, but I enjoy all of your input. I love that you guys interact with me. And maybe next time I'll drop a link if some of you want to come up and chit chat about what's going on. Um, Guys, I love you all. I don't know who's on tonight. I don't know if anybody's on tonight, but I do love you all. Try to be kind, and I will see you guys all in the next chat room. Bye, guys.